Hey guys, so in today's video I'm going to be teaching you if a high sensitivity is good for you, and I'm going to be giving you a couple of scenarios where a higher sensitivity might be ideal for you. So first off, let's define high sensitivity. I'm not going to give you a number. I will show you my sensitivity really quickly. My sensitivity is 0.375 at 800. So basically what I do to determine if my sensitivity is correct in the game that I'm playing, I look at a wall. And then, so I'll look at like this, I'll look at something here, I'll look at this little tile, and then I'll place my mouse on the edge of my mouse pad. I'll do a full 360. You can see I do almost one full 360 with one swipe on my mouse pad. That's basically what I'm doing, right? And so this is going to vary. Let's try again. It varies a little bit depending on if you go up or down a little bit as you're spinning. But overall, you see I do pretty close to one full 360 on my mouse pad, and this is by design. I like to kind of know that I'm doing one full 360, so if I need to, I can go like this to do a full 360, or or if I need to go, you don't usually need to do a 360, but you might need to do like a 180, so you can kind of flick halfway, and then you're doing a 180, and that's pretty easy, right? Once you kind of get used to it. So what is a high sensitivity? A high sensitivity is if you do one full swipe and you're going over the 360 to like a 480 or beyond, right? And this is an interesting way to define it, but this is maybe a new way that you guys can think of high sensitivity. So under what circumstances would you want a higher sensitivity? Well, okay, so my mouse pad is about this wide, so it's about 1.5 feet, which is pretty wide. Most of you might not have a mouse pad that long. If you're a higher rank or if you've been playing FPS games for a long time, you might have like a whole desk mat mouse pad, or you might have a bigger mouse pad like me. If you don't, that's completely okay. My point here is the bigger the mouse pad you have, the more variability you're allowed in your sensitivity. So if you have a really small mouse pad, I used to play on a mouse pad about this big, so I know that some of you might be doing that. That's completely okay. I used to play on a faster sensitivity because you have less area to work with, right? So if you have less area to work with, you might want to use a higher sense, and that's completely okay, right? Again, the problem is, I say this in every video I talk about sensitivity now, is you shouldn't be changing your sense. There's no excuse. Doesn't matter what size your mouse pad is. There's no excuse to be changing your sensitivity a lot. If you have a smaller mouse pad, pick a higher sense to begin with, so that you can still do a full 360 and a flick or more. Now let's talk about like in-game practical uses, right? So there's different characters in this game. There's different agents. What role do you guys think would probably be best for having higher sensitivity? Now I can definitely think one role because I play it. So duelists. Why would duelists want to have a higher sensitivity over say like a Killjoy or people like controllers? And again, this is going to come back to preference, but if you're a duelist, why might you want to have that, right? You're coming in, you're trying to clear out like everything, right? You're trying to clear out corners whenever you're entering. Let's go over to age, kind of provide another example. And usually what that means is that you're going to have to turn in a bunch of different directions. So you might like kind of clear like this, or you might not even turn like that, but you want to have the potential, like if you're getting shot from over here all of a sudden, you're going to need to flick, right? And you're gonna want generally a slightly faster sensitivity. This doesn't mean you need to like double your sensitivity all of a sudden, but if your sensitivity is really slow and then you can't react to, you can't like move your mouse quick enough, like if a full flick on your mouse pad is like getting you to here and you need to flick like twice to do this, obviously you need to raise your sense a little bit, right? This is something that might help some of you guys that are struggling with something like this. And if you just can't react like this whenever you're entering, then this is something you'll want to practice on and focus on. But higher sensitivity can definitely make this easier. This is generally going to be the same, I would say, for initiator. Not exactly the same because you're not the first one in. So, even if you're the second person in, unless you're like right behind the first person, you're going to at least have a better idea of the duelist that's running in first, about where enemies are. So if my duelist is up here running in and I hear shots from the enemy, then I'm already kind of know where they are. So you might not need as high of a sensitivity to react, but you can still have it, because a lot of the time whenever if your duelists are lurking or they're just kind of bad, or if they're dead a lot, then you might need to entry first anyway as an initiator with like say you breach flash high, or you like Sova or fade dog in, you just run in and it's kind of like the same thing, right? And so yeah, these are pretty good examples. And other than that, guys, higher sensitivity can really just kind of be preference. Like, it's completely okay to prefer higher sensitivity. I know a lot of people do. I think the debate between low and high sensitivity is just highly preference. I think there are pros and cons to each. High sensitivity is going to make it harder to hit these micro shots at this sort of range, unless you're just really, really good. So what I mean by that is, you know, if you're fighting someone at this range here, you're going to need to have more kind of finesse, and a slower sensitivity is really going to allow you to, you know, be a little bit more precise, right? Whereas if you're on a really high sensitivity, you're going to be more like kind of jumpy. Even like the slightest little movement on your mouse pad is going to be like making you jump a lot, right? And so whereas, you know, if you're entering, if you're running up, you might be able to hit a crazy flick like this. Like that was actually like a perfect flick, just because, you know, the smallest flick is actually, this seems like a crazy flick to most people, but this is not that large of a movement if you have a fast sensitivity. Like, it might be like that much on your mouse pad, and it's really not that hard to hit flicks like this. So that's one advantage of a higher sensitivity. Also, just reacting, right? If you have fast reaction time and you didn't clear a corner appropriately, but you catch someone in the corner of your eye like this, like, that's going to be easier because it's just quicker, right? Whereas if you might react a little bit slower with a slower sensitivity. You might look like this or something. But yeah, so those are some of the main scenarios where a higher sensitivity might benefit you over a lower sensitivity. Let me know if you guys have any questions about this. I can do a video about DPI if you guys would like as well. And kind of like what that means, and if there's a preferred DPI for FPS games or not. I've always played at 800. I know what most people play at. Some people play at 1600. Some people play at 400. Yeah, guys. So, anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, leave a video idea down in the comments below. Check out my Patreon, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.